What up YouTube? This is SoCal Supercars, and this is actually a video I've been planning to make for a really long time. And it's going to be a quick exterior and interior review on my 2010 Mitsubishi Lancer Ralliart, which is actually the car you've seen in some of the videos where I'm chasing some of the various cars. And as you can see, I was trying to find a secluded location. This is pretty much the only place I could find near some water towers in Rowland Heights, so hopefully I don't disturb the neighborhood too much over here. But we'll start off with the exterior styling on the front. And if you can see right here, you can see the Ralliart badge. And then the Ralliart and the Evo 10 both have the same vented aluminum hood, as you can see right here. And the thing about this car is it's not really talked about too much, especially due to the fact that the WRX kind of outshined it in every category, especially with the most recent ones. So this car was actually made to compete with the WRX as well as the Mazda Speed 3 back in like '09. So those generations of those particular cars. And this actually does have the same 4B11T engine as the Evo 10, albeit it has a single scroll turbo as opposed to the twin scroll in the GSR and MR. But it still makes for some pretty decent power, especially back then in 2009 when this car was released. This one's actually a 2010 model, and this one roughly has 236 horsepower to the crank, so it's completely stock, and 256 pound-feet of torque, which were not bad numbers back then. Just look at the front fascia right here. And this front end was actually only supposed to be on the Ralliart originally, but they ended up carrying this over to the 2012 and up Lancers, so this chrome grille, or the chrome lip around the blacked out grille. But the Ralliarts can be distinguished by the front badge right here. Although, same with the hood, because this is bespoke to the Evo and the Ralliart due to the fact that these are turbocharged. And this is also all-wheel drive. It has the same all-wheel drive from the Evo 9, so the 2006 Evo 9. So it doesn't have the super all-wheel control that's on the 10 with the active yaw control, but it's still a pretty good system. Take you to the rear end of the car, and as you can see, what differentiates this one from the Evolution and from the normal Lancer is this one has a dual outlet exhaust with a smaller rear diffuser than the Evo 10. It's a little less aggressive, but it still looks pretty good, and it gives it its own unique styling. And then with the Ralliart, it actually came with this small wing right here. You could get it with a lip. You couldn't get it with the large spoiler from the Evo 10 GSR from the 08 MR. And another way to tell this one apart is the Ralliart badge right there. I'm gonna go into the trunk so you can see what that looks like. And this is the fast key. So if you have the fast key, all you have to do is be close enough to the car and push the trunk button right here. It'll open. And this car is equipped with the Rockford Fosgate audio system, which is an option from the dealership. This is not aftermarket. And it's actually a really good system compared to like the really shitty bass audio unit that I've seen. It's pretty bad, I'm not gonna lie to you. That you definitely do want to go up for this, or when you do buy it, you want to get something different on the aftermarket if you got stuck with the really low watt bass model system. But this one's pretty good. There's a very decent amount of trunk space. The thing that makes this car a better all-arounder is because the Evolution has the washer fluid reservoir, and it will also have the battery, and it'll take up roughly about half of the trunk space you see here, because this has a little bit less than the normal Lancer due to some different bracing in the trunk. But I actually do need this trunk space because these seats still fold down, and the Evo they do not, which is kind of a bummer because I'm always putting tons of shit in my car, and I definitely really wouldn't be able to fit everything that I would need to fit if I had a full-blown GSR MR. Close that up. Thing with these tail lights, if you remember back in '08 when that new generation of Lancer came out in this country, the tail lights used to be all red, and then for the Ralliart was actually the first one to have these blacked out nice tail lights, and then they ended up incorporating it into the Evolution and the Lancers because they were such a hit on the Ralliart because they looked so much better than the red ones. So I mean, I can totally understand that. These really do look a lot better. I'll try and find a picture that I can post on Instagram so you guys could see how pretty terrible the old lights used to look. It actually does bother me about the side of this car is it doesn't have the aggressive Evo 10 side vent that would normally be right there behind the wheel. So from the side, it kind of just looks like the Lancer GT and GTS because it does have the same Lancer GTS wheels. They didn't give the Ralliart its own wheels like they used to for the OZ Rally. And this is actually the first Ralliart, this generation at least, that it was actually performance based. The other ones were more of just body kits. They didn't actually perform any better. but this one actually does have the single scroll turbo, the Evo 9 all-wheel drive, the dual clutch transmission from the Evo MR. So really, I don't want to call it a parts bin car, although it does have many Frankenstein bits from various cars of the past and the present. I'm gonna do a real quick look at the interior, and like I said, if you have the fast key, all you have to do is stand next to it and it'll unlock itself right there. So now this car is equipped with the nav, the Rockford Fosgate audio system, the optional for 2009 and 2010 Recaro seats that you see in the GSR and MR up until 2015, because now they no longer have the Recaros for the Evos. And for the Ralliarts, they got rid of the Recaro option in 2011, which kind of sucks because the normal Lancer seats, to be honest, are pretty awful if you're doing any type of performance driving. I've actually seen a pretty recent review where on the 2015 Evo with Carlos Lago from Motor Trend, and he was saying how his leg kept hitting the center console when he drove an Evo MR that was 2015 without the Recaros. So these definitely do hold you in quite nicely, and we'll talk more about that in a while. But back to the center screen interface, we'll actually turn on the car. You get the little Mitsubishi greeting right there. Quick thing I'm going to touch on with the gauge cluster is in 2009, when the first gen Ralliart of this body style came out, the center screen right there was not in color like that. It was all a digital red. It looked really bad in my opinion, so I'm really glad I was able to get the 2010, because in 2010 is when they actually switched to this nicer color display, and you can see your mileage. You can go through all that, different settings, and then back to that. So as far as the infotainment system, we do have the touchscreen display with the navigation and the Rockford Fosgate audio system. And this car also has various controls. You know, it has the volume control. It also has, you could switch through the different FM, AM radio through the different stations. It also does have Bluetooth. You can see the Bluetooth call right here. And to be honest, even though it's an older system, because I know they switched it for 2014, I'd have to say it hasn't aged too badly. As you can see here, we're on the screen where it's on the CD right now that's playing. I'll show you how you put a CD in the actual system. So there's open right here in the lower left-hand corner, and the full screen will turn. And then you have your CD right here. But all in all, I'd say it's a pretty good screen. I'll go through the navigation right now really quick. It hasn't aged too badly. It's still a pretty simple and easy unit to navigate through. You can go through your menu, type in your address, and it's pretty straightforward. I will admit that due to the fact that this is a 2010, some of the software is a little dated. So now we're going to go through the only transmission option for this car. You can only get the Ralliart and as well as the Evolution 10 MR with the twin clutch SST gearbox, which is a dual clutch automated manual manufactured by Getrag. And this is a little toggle switch which will go back to the center display right here. You can see it's in normal mode, and if you press it up, it'll put it into sport mode. Transmission, it does downshift pretty aggressively when in sport mode, and you can use the paddle shifters right here. This is for upshifting right here, and then for downshifting on the left with the minus sign right there. And one thing I do have to credit them for is that they put this on the column. It's not on the wheel, so it doesn't turn with the wheel. It's always in the same place you left it. And I personally hate when cars have them on the wheel. Pretty much has every option that you want, with the exception of the moonroof. Now personally, I don't care if it has the moonroof or not, because that does add weight. But it does have these really beautiful Recaro seats that hold you in really snug. And the funny thing is, like I said, for the 2015 Evo, they don't even have these seats as an option anymore. Because before they just came standard with the Evolution, and they were an option for the Ralliart in the first 2 years of this car's existence. So I think it's hilarious. Like now you'll see like the new Evo and it'll have the base model Lancer seats, but you see this Ralliart with the Recaros. And these are the cloth Recaros. These are not the leather Recaros. And to be perfectly honest, for me and someone of my size and height, I'm about 5'10", and I'm pretty slim, so these fit me pretty much perfect like a glove. But I've heard of some people who are taller, roughly 6 or more, like 6'2" or more. They've had some difficulty with these seats and they don't really like them too much, especially some wider individuals. They can't really fit because the bolstering is pretty aggressive on the side. You can see it right here. And one more thing that kind of is a flaw with the seat design and the seat positioning is that the seats only slide forward and back. They do not go up and down because they pretty much are bolted to the ground. And the back of the seat, so the actual back rest of the seat, this part can go up and down, but the actual seat doesn't raise or lower. So that's been some people's complaints. Also with the steering wheel, the wheel does not telescope. So it stays in this position. You can lift it up and down, but you can't pull it closer or push it further away from you. So that was some people's gripes with this interior. As far as my opinion goes, and it's not just because I own the car, the touch points are the only things that should really be of a higher quality. And what a touch point is essentially everything that you actually touch while driving. The steering wheel feels fine. It's wrapped in a pretty decent leather, although due to the fact this is a 2010 car, it doesn't look as new as when you first get the car, because then the wheel is a lot nicer and the leather still feels good. The paddles feel great. And then as well as this baseball stitched leather knob right here, it feels fine. The e-brake feels good. You can go through this and you don't really have to push on it too hard. It's a pretty simple interface to navigate through. See, like, you don't, in other interfaces that I've screwed around with, like other touch screens, you really have to push on it. But this one's pretty simple. And then you also have the side buttons as well. So I don't think that I know some of the interior build quality could be better, but you have to realize when new, this is only about like a $30,000, maybe $32,000 car. So you can't expect too much. And then on top of that, the Ralliarts and Evos are still based upon the normal Lancer. So you can't really expect too much difference. I know there are other cars within the price point that may have a better interior, but they may have better quality, like better build quality, better use of materials. But as far as the styling on other cars, I don't think they look as clean and as simple or as this easy to go through and navigate, use on a daily basis. I think this does really well, and I think it just gets picked on too much. The Ralliart, Mitsubishi never actually bothered to amplify, increase, modify. They never changed anything over the years. They pretty much just kept it the same. Same with the Evolution. As you know, that the Evo and the Ralliarts are dying for 2015. The Subaru is pretty much alone in the segment, with the exception of the new Focus RS, which I'm really excited about personally. I definitely do want to test drive one, but I don't plan on getting rid of this car anytime soon. Hopefully in the near future I can find an Evo 9 or maybe an Evo 10 GSR and have that as a second car. Because when you're in LA traffic, I gotta admit, the dual clutch is just fine. And if you have any questions on the Ralliart, because I know I didn't go too in depth as I wanted to, so because mainly due to the fact it's getting pretty dark outside. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. And you can follow me on Instagram at SoCal Supercars. I'm definitely going to be doing some more reviews, hopefully, of other cars. And they're probably going to be a little bit more planned and professional than this. This was just kind of like, all right, we're going to go shoot it, because people have been wondering what I drive. So I thought it'd be a good idea to show them some little bit about the car, how long I've had it. Because like I said, the Ralliart isn't really talked about, not because it's a bad car, but because it was overshadowed by the WRX. So yeah, feel free to share the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching.